Hey guys, it's PC Engine City 15, and once again I've been a very busy person. With the help of Professor Stephen Hawking, who I now keep safely chained to a post so he doesn't get up to any more mischief, I've built the world's first ultra-computer. Not a supercomputer, an ultra-computer. My goal was to make a computer that could hold the knowledge of the whole universe and dispense it at my command. And you're just in time for the activation. Here we go. Loading. Ah, here we are. Just double click on ultimateknowledge.exe.
Greetings, I am the Adonadon 2000. Please state your query.
We need a test. Something fairly simple. After all, we don't want it to blow a circuit. Let's see. Computer, tell me about the Wonder Boy series.
Wonder Boy has been an entertaining platformer ever since its inception in the arcade in 1986. Wonder Boy was created by Escape, now known as West 1, and published by Sega. The series made its way to the Sega Master System in its original form the very next year. Shortly after, in 1988, Hudson Soft wanted to make a port of this successful game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. However, since Sega owned the Wonder Boy name, Hudson had no choice but to change the name and main character of the game to avoid license infringement. The result was Adventure Island. It's basically the same game, except the main character Tom Tom is replaced by a brown-haired, baseball cap-wearing caveman. The new character was named after Takahashi Meijin, a Hudson executive at the time. The full title of this game is Master Takahashi's Adventure Island. Takahashi was dubbed Master Higgins in English releases.
Whoa, that's enough. You know, I'm impressed, but I'm more interested in the PC Engine part of its history. Why don't you start from the beginning?
Certainly. The franchise first made its appearance on our beloved NEC consoles in 1987 in the form of Hudson Soft's Vicariman World. Vicariman World is actually a remake of Wonder Boy and Monster Land, the second in the series. This game was exclusive to Japan, however in recent years an English translation was developed by the fan community. You can find the translated ROM if you search hard enough. Vicariman World is identical to Wonder Boy and Monster Land, except the name, and once again the main character is given dark hair.
Any other changes?
The shopkeeper and boss graphics have also been changed.
Very good. Carry on.
This game introduced the RPG elements into the Wonder Boy series. In contrast, Adventure Island spawned into its own series and bears no relation to any subsequent Wonder Boy game. You can now equip your character with armor, shields, and boots, and a magic system was introduced. Money to purchase equipment, spells, and healing potions can be obtained by killing enemies or jumping in key locations throughout the level. Gameplay is also no longer restricted to a left-to-right plane. You are now able to move backwards in a level to revisit shops and kill more enemies. Graphically, the game is nothing to spit at and is actually less colorful than the original Wonder Boy. Monster Land is drab in comparison to its prequel. However, the game more than makes up for it in playability. Music itself is reminiscent of the Nintendo Entertainment System, while the sound effects, though simple, will soon become familiar, as they do not change much in the series. The first Wonder Boy featured a system where you were constantly losing health, even by just sitting there, and you will need to collect fruit to keep it topped up. This was intentionally designed to speed up gameplay compared to the likes of Mario. In Bikiri Man World, this was replaced by a timer. That's right, an RPG with a timer.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but I think we should go back to the music. You say it was NES-like? Well, let's let the listeners decide, but one thing I can tell you, it's flat out identical to the arcade version. This is my favourite one. Love that tune. So that's covered Wonder Boy 2. Tell me about the next one.
The third Wonder Boy game came in the form of Wonder Boy 3, Monster Lair. The Japanese version somehow kept the Wonder Boy moniker, but the American release dropped it and was simply titled Monster Lair. Although this game had also made its way to the Mega Drive, the TurboGrafx 16 release is the only American port of this game. The Hudson port is also closest to the arcade original. The sprites for the Mega Drive version were all redrawn.
Yeah, and bloody awful they look too. It's a shame, as the Mega Drive music was really well done. It could have been very smart conversion. Carry on. Tell me about the gameplay.
Monster Lair is more shooter than anything else, and visually is more like the first game. The adventure aspect of the first two games was abandoned for this release, instead replaced by a fixed-rate scrolling engine. As such, Monster Lair feels like a combination of the first two games, however with one important addition. Monster Lair features two-player simultaneous action.
And some top-class arrangements as well, as you're about to hear. So now, O font of all knowledge, tell us about the other Wonder Boy 3.
Dragon's Curse was my first exposure to the series on the TurboGrafx 16. I remember reading about it in TurboPlay magazine and eagerly anticipating it.
Hey, hang on. I only just made you. How could you have had actual experience of this game all those years ago?
I have not always been as I am. Parts of me used to be a Commodore 64.
Well, but even so, Commodore 64s aren't sentient, are they?
You would be surprised.
So you, actually bought this game yourself?
I think I picked it up for about $30 brand new shortly after release.
Wait a minute, I mean, I've never once seen an 8-bit home computer stroll into a store and ask for the latest video games.
Mail order.
Oh, well, that explains it. Carry on then.
At any rate, Dragon's Curse was the beginning of my Wonder Boy addiction. To add to the confusion of the Wonder Boy naming schema, Dragon's Curse was titled Adventure Island in Japan, whereas its identical brother for the Sega Master System keeps true to the naming convention and is called Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap. For those of you keeping track, this is the second Wonder Boy 3. Even though Dragon's Curse is technically the fourth game in the Wonder Boy series, it is the direct sequel to the second game and picks up right where Monsterland left off, recreating the last few minutes. The first few minutes are spent running through the maze castle and beating the Mecha Dragon just like the ending of Monsterland. When the dragon is defeated, he places a curse on you, turning you into a dragon. Now you must undo the curse.
So is this a conversion or what?
Up until now, all Wonder Boy games were born in the arcades. This is the first in the series developed strictly for consoles. The level-by-level structure found in the first Monsterland is abandoned, replaced with a more open and explorable land. At the end of each stage, you are cursed by the dying boss just like you were at the beginning, and you will end up changing from the dragon into another character. Each character has their own special abilities, making them key to beating certain stages. So even though the game is pretty open, you will need to change into different characters to venture to certain areas, and the only way to accomplish this is by killing the stage boss. The timer found in Monsterland is ditched completely. You are no longer restricted by time. Dragon's Curse also gives you a wider selection of items, weapons, and spells to purchase. The graphics and music have been updated over the Master System original, and the Lion Man character is replaced by Tiger Man. Speaking of music, Dragon's Curse features one of the best soundtracks found on any HuCard.
Says you, but you're just a machine and shouldn't really be spouting off opinions.
Bite me.
Cut it out, or I'll have you reprogrammed. Sure, the music's pretty good, but I think the sound was a little too soft for my liking. I find myself preferring the Master System versions in some cases, particularly the side-crawlers dance. I know, let's have a comparison. You may agree or disagree. I just think the engine version has a little less character. But let's sample a couple more tracks. So, onwards and upwards. Tell me about the next one.
Originally released for the Mega Drive as Wonder Boy 5 Monster World 3, it was released for the PC Engine CD by Hudson Soft with the name Dynastic Hero in 1994. The spiritual successor to Dragon's Curse follows the same line of evolution and gameplay but doesn't improve much on its predecessor. Once again, the main character's name and look has been changed, helper characters and bosses have been redrawn, and the story has been altered, making this game independent from the Wonder Boy franchise. The hero is now called Dyna, and the game as a whole has an insect theme, very different from Wonder Boy 5.
Let's make something clear here. The main character is called Dyna in the American version, and the Japanese version, he's called Dynas. Now, what are you saying about the insect theme?
This is especially apparent when you fight the bosses, traverse through the stages, and take a good long gander at Dyna's helmet, which looks something like an Emperor Beetle. Instead of your character changing into something like Dragon's Curse, there are helper characters throughout the stages that will accompany you for a time, and lend you assistance in one form or another to progress in the game. This is the last Wonder Boy to keep the RPG elements introduced in Monsterland, such as money, spells, and everything that goes with those. The weapons consist of a variety of spears and swords. More powerful weapons are more expensive, of course. You will also find a few stages from Monsterland redrawn and adjusted to fit the new game. Dynastic Hero is considered one of the rarest Turbo Duo games today. It also features an incredibly cheesy introduction song.
Look, what have I said about giving your opinions? It may be cheesy on the US version, but the original is an ultra cool J-poppy tune, and you can hear it back on Show 11. But for now, here's an example of some of Dynastic Hero's other music. Well, so far I have to say this new computer's quite a success, apart from the lippy comments and opinions it's giving me. No doubt the prof had something to do with that. The power pack's starting to overheat a bit, so I'll just ask it for one more before I shut it down. Computer! Tell me about New Adventure Island. And make it brief, will you? I fancy a cup of tea.
New Adventure Island is the closest thing to the original Wonder Boy on the PC Engine. It is basically a sequel to Hudson's first Adventure Island for the NES. It features the same gameplay with some key additions to make it its own game. Graphics have also been enhanced with more animation and colorful environments. Released in 1992, this was one of the later hue cards in the PC Engine's life.
That'll do. Let's give people a chance to hear it out now. Pretty cool music, eh?
I thought I was not allowed to comment.
Oh, don't be such a sour puss. I'm shutting you down now, so say goodbye to the listeners.
Goodbye.
I'm quite pleased, you know. My new invention didn't try and take over the world once, and that has to be a good sign. Last episode, I played a mystery sound for you to guess. Well, I had a whole range of answers, so thanks to both of you who responded. And Trickman Terry guessed right, with it being from Galaga 88, or Galaga 90 if it's the American version. Recognise it now? Well, I've a new one this time, and here it is. If you think you know, instead of emailing me, I'll open up a thread on the PC Engine FX forums, so be sure to visit. As a final word before I leave you with the ending theme to Adventure Island, I promised I'd say hello to somebody. Now I know I don't usually get this personal, but just this once. So, Mother Gunner, old chap, I do hope that cream is working. Just apply it daily and they should clear up real quick. Goodbye.